Finally, part 3 of my STEM story. My STEM story is special because I want you to see that everything that you see here on the show or see on my Instagram is something that has been in the making for a very, very long time. So if this makes you feel a little rushed, I want you to slow down and really enjoy your journey. And if you are already doing wonderful things, I want you to use this opportunity to reflect on your STEM story and how far you have come. Reflections are a great tool to feel confident and to analyze how far you've come, what has worked, what hasn't worked, and how you have grown. It really gives you an insight into the basic values, the basic ways, and the basic things you've learned through your life. So today is part 3, and this week is also my TEDx week. This week is never gonna come back, and it's so special because I finally landed my first TEDx and I'll be recording it this week. So I'm super excited to take you on a journey with me of my part 3 of my STEM story. Let's get started. Hi there, this is Prasha Dutra, and I'm passionate about helping you unlock your true potential in your science, technology, engineering, and mathematics career and beyond. Less than a decade ago, I moved to the US from India to live my American dream. I took my engineering career to the next level by starting my own consulting and coaching company while thriving at my 9-to-5 job. Money, time management, career planning, and personal growth are all things we'll discuss here. From expert guests and their stories to my own lessons, this show is an ongoing masterclass in how to believe in your brilliance and conquer your STEM career with confidence. Get a pen and paper and get ready for an education you wish you had in school. This is Her STEM Story, the podcast. So this is a huge week for me because this week I'm recording my TEDx at TEDx Wilson Park in Florence, Alabama. I am so happy and excited to be on this path, to be on this stage, and to actually share my message, which is my idea worth sharing. And the idea won't be here if it wasn't for Her STEM Story. If it wasn't for this podcast, I would not get a chance to be on the red dot. I would also not know what is my idea worth sharing. And so I'm very, 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 very grateful to the show and everyone who tunes in to really allow me to explore my idea and use my voice to understand what it is that I can share with the world as a legacy. So let's talk a little bit about the final and the third part and what we're covering today. I'm going to tell you all about how I found my job 8 months before graduation, and then what led to Her STEM Story's inception, and then how I secured my TEDx. So just a little bit overview and how excited I am for what the future holds and how my STEM story is going to grow and evolve, and I will bring you all along with me, and I would love to hear your STEM story as well. And that's what this show and community is all about, that we're all in this together, and I hope that I can inspire you to go for those big goals. So let's get started. Number 1, how did I get my job? 8 months before graduation. So I work for world's largest wire and cable manufacturer, and they're incredible employers. I've worked with them for almost 6 years now, and I got hired for their graduate program right out of college. And I actually had my offer letter in November of 2013, and I started working with them in August of 2014. So literally almost 8 months before I could actually work for them. And I was so glad that it worked out because I've always tried to use, the law of attraction to bring things in my life, and I really believe in it. I don't think that it's a shortcut. I do think that it's an intentional way of doing things that you really want to do and attracting opportunities that you really want to attract. So one of my things all through my second year of college was, I'm going to get hired before graduation. I said it all the time. I annoyed people with it, and it was just crazy how much I wanted that. And to do that, I did everything I could in my power, which means I prepared for the career fair when all my peers were like, oh, we still have another semester to go, like 2 semesters to go. Why are you doing this right now? And I still continued to push through and show up, did my research, and worked hard on how to do this, how to get the job secured way before I graduate. And this was something that was a personal goal. And I actually now deliver a talk called How to Get a Job Before Graduation, which I'm going to turn into a solo episode very soon. And I'll share all the tips and tricks I did. However, with this episode, I want you to definitely know that if your mind can conceive it, it can achieve it. Don't let other people stop you. And this whole episode is pretty much about this one concept that I have used again and again in my life to bring the things that I want to life. So definitely have faith and have that big goal that scares you and continue to push forward. And the second thing I want to talk about is, of course, her STEM story. How did it come to be? So I was working and I was having a great time, and it was really, really fun. I was traveling, and somewhere there, in 2015, I lost my father to pancreatic cancer, and it was a really tough time. And he was my biggest cheerleader. He was someone who inspired me to always have big goals. He always used to tell me that you're going to be a millionaire. He was a big, big influence. He was a big personality. Like, I have a big personality, multiply that by 100. That was my father. And I was really sad when he passed away, but it really gave me a jolt of, think about what will your legacy be. Think about what you're doing. Get more intentional. I think parental loss can really trigger that. And even though it's one of the hardest things to process, it is one of the strongest things to motivate yourself and to actually build a life that you're proud of. And I think that is the silver lining in this thing, is that, of course, my father's not with me, but I know that his spirit, his soul is with me, and that pushes me every day to continue to find meaning in this life and create meaning for others as well. And that's how her STEM story came to be. I had been obsessing over doing something on my own. I actually took classes at MIT after work. I was obsessed with building a business. I was doing all kinds of things, meeting new people. I was obsessed with doing something. And I think 6 to 8 months it took me to just process, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? And I started with volunteering, and a lot of personal development coaches and people will tell you, start with volunteering. Things that you care about can really bring the best out of you. Open yourself to these new ideas, new people, and a way of living life with purpose. I did volunteer for almost a year first, and then started doing more things and kept the volunteering position. And trust me, that job led to that volunteer position led to me being on radio. And the radio host said, for the first time I was on radio, and the radio host said, "You have a radio voice." And I was just so ecstatic to hear that, and that told me that I need to do something with my voice, because I talk so much and it would be so wonderful to talk and share my message. However, I didn't know what my message was until a few series of incidents happened, which led me to start her STEM story, including having all engineers in my wedding party. From that to having all women engineers in my team at work, many things triggered that, because I was so disappointed that the world continued to talk about getting more girls in STEM without really giving credit to the women who have stayed in STEM and using their stories to motivate others to stay in STEM more than just come in STEM. And my TEDx is a lot about that as well, and I can't wait for you to listen to it as well. And so that led to her STEM story, a podcast about real women with extraordinary stories. Over the years, the show has definitely evolved into something much more of an educational platform where I can teach you something so you can go make that change in your life, mixed with inspiring stories of women in STEM from around the world. So that's what her STEM story is all about, and much more. It has evolved so much and grown so much. It has actually given me the platform to share my idea worth sharing, which really segues into how did I get my TEDx. So as soon as her STEM story started, I interviewed a lot of people who were TEDx speakers, including Melissa Christina Marquez, who is a shark scientist, and her episode is episode number 7. And I still remember clear to this day that I messaged her on Twitter and I saw she's a TEDx speaker. I thought that was like the biggest honor you can have. She replied to me with so much kindness, and she was on the show. And when I spoke to her, I really could visualize myself being a TEDx speaker, and I wanted to be a TEDx speaker. She humanized that a role for me from that episode onwards, and I started telling people, you know what, I'm going to give a TEDx, and I did the same thing I did with my job search, which is I'm going to get hired before graduation. And I said it so many times that really it just became a fact that Prasha is going to give a TEDx. I didn't even have a TEDx. I hadn't secured a talk. I didn't have my idea figured out. I was just obsessed with it, and I wanted it so bad that I even had a master class. Like, I had a master call with so many public speakers, and we talked about how to get a TEDx. And then I found the book TED Talks, and I was listening to it. And since 2018, everything I have done is with keeping in mind that, can I share this idea with the world? Is there something special about what I'm doing? How can I set myself apart? And I think those questions are so important, that you focus on the why, not on the how. And I encourage you guys to do that too. Please, even if you don't want a TED Talk, I highly recommend to read the book TED Talks. And this book will really, really show you how you are surrounded by phenomenal ideas all day long if only you listened, if only you paid attention. And it doesn't matter if you are an influencer or public speaker or scientist or whoever, you have an idea worth sharing, so look for it. And I think having that motivation really shaped my work for the coming years. And in 2019, I finally decided to go to a coach in Boston and get help with my through line, which is the 6 letters or 6 to 12 letters that can define your idea. And this person was, this speaking coach, and it's like the most random encounter ever. And she was so nice, and she was an acting coach actually. And she really worked with me for 1 hour. I paid her $175, I remember that. And we just worked together on the 6 letters that we can use to explain my idea. And long behold, within an hour, this woman came up with the most powerful idea of them all, which is STEM needs women and women need STEM. And I used that to apply for my TEDx. And with my experience of her STEM story and my work in this field, they thought I was the perfect candidate to talk about this topic. The idea definitely evolved, got narrowed down, because that's how the talks are designed, to have a small idea. But I'm telling you, this idea is continuing to grow, and I have so many more ideas for so many more TEDx that I cannot wait to apply to them and share more ideas. And I inspire you and I encourage you to please pay attention to the idea, not the how. Don't worry about creating a YouTube channel or podcast or a business. Think about why you should have a business, why you should have a podcast. What is it that you're doing which is different than other people? And it's very subtle. And that's why when you listen to TEDx and TED Talks, you're mind blown, because people are finding small things in the big things in life. And I really cannot wait for you to listen to my TEDx. It is amazing. It will show you how to be successful and how to stay in STEM as a woman, and how to ensure that you're always inspired to continue your journey in STEM professions. I'm so excited for you to listen to it. I'm excited to deliver it, and this is really a dream come true. I really want you to take away from my STEM story is that if your mind can conceive it, it can achieve it. So don't stop yourself from dreaming big, whatever that big means to you. It should scare you, it should excite you, and it should make life worth living, and it should make you happy in the end, because surely all the goals I have followed have made me extremely happy, and I continue to follow that path. Again, thank you so much for joining me on my STEM journey. I will see you again next week. Until then, subscribe, rate, and review this podcast on your favorite podcasting platforms. Bye.